basically I've been on paternity leave. We had our other kids, so I've been like super busy, and I haven't even got any sleep hardly, and all that typical newborn stuff. And it may be kind of noisy because it's raining. I'm outside. I got the garage door open. Well, I'm in the garage. And I was gonna say, so I listed this car behind me, my Fairlane, for sale because I don't know when the heck I'm gonna be able to have time to work on it or money to work on it. And like I've said before, it's not cars I would rather have, but I had basically no interest whatsoever in any. No one was really interested in it, so I'm going to go back and work on it. At least I'm going to build me a hot rod, and that was kind of the reason I was making this video. So I talked to one of my co-workers, and he was telling me that, or I asked him if he had any Ford parts or knew anyone that had any Ford parts, so I could get some you know, put the engine back together, get it running. I figured it'd be easier to sell it if it wasn't in a million pieces. But he was telling me, you know, you should just get like a running 302. And I was thinking, huh, you know what, that's actually not a bad idea. So I have it's a 289 car, right? And I've had the machine work done, and it's just been sitting there like that for probably a year and a half, 2 years now. But the machine work costed me $450, and I still need to turn the crank because the clearances are too tight. And I've seen all over like Facebook Marketplace and stuff these running 302s for between $500 to $700. But then you don't know what you're going to get when you go that route. Everyone says it ran when it was pulled. That's what everyone says. Ran when pulled. You know, it's kind of like the old ran when it was parked. And I was thinking, when is the best time? When do you decide whether you want to replace an engine and try to gamble like that, get a new engine, like a crate engine, or rebuild your engine? Obviously, the rebuilding, especially if you don't do it yourself, is going to be the most expensive route to go, but it also is going to be the most reliable. So, for example, my father bought an engine recently, or well, I think he bought a wrecked truck with an engine to put in his other truck. This is diesel. This was a N14. This is his engine in his truck. Dropped a piston, or I'm not exactly sure, but he said the rod was in the oil pan, and he was kind of worried about it. Might have hit the crank, and he's worried about the crank. And I tend to agree with him, because once you get into that big of an engine, replacing a crankshaft, as much labor as involved with pulling it out, I mean, you're really just better off to get a different engine. But anyways, they told him that that engine was built not too long ago. And I guess I haven't actually heard this engine or seen it or anything, but he had someone, I guess, put the engine in out of his shop, and he said once it warmed up, it started going like a, and so they pulled the, I don't remember what cylinder, it was one of the rod caps they pulled off, and it was ready to spin a rod bearing. Or maybe it was a main, but I think it was a rod bearing. But, so that's something you gotta consider running into. I mean, really, if I build this engine how I want to, which is not anything crazy, it's, you know, I just want to get about 300 horsepower, which is not really that, like 300 crank horsepower, which is not enough. That's not that hard to do, I don't feel like, out of a 289, which is bigger than that now, but I'll get to that in a minute. Like I said, I have $450 in the machine work right now already. I still need to get the crank turned. I don't know how much that costs, because I've called 3 places that don't turn cranks. Here in the North Alabama. If you know someone that turns cranks, let me know. I still need to call this one kind of really local machine shop that I thought he was closed. I don't know if he's open or closed. I had to call him and see. I don't think he does. But I found someone that's got one for sale in Loretto, Tennessee, that's turned and ready to go for a 289 for like $300. But I'm hoping, I figure I could probably get one turned for about $100. So I'm hoping that I can do that. But I still don't know about that. And Rollercam, which I was just going to put a B303 cam or E303, just to try to go as much like Ford and Ford performance parts as possible for reliability purposes. Depending on how high a lift I can go. I don't want to go, definitely don't want to go over 500. Don't really want to go over 488 lift, honestly. So, but Rollercam definitely. So I mean, the cam's expensive. I mean, it's not super. You should probably find one used for a couple $100. But the lifters, the link bar lifters, you know, those things are like $400 or $500 for a set of those. So then you're in at cam, machine work cam, and lifters, you're in at like over $1,000 already. Okay, then I already have my heads. They're ready to go. Intake's ready to go. Carburetor's ready to go. Well, almost ready to go. Timing covers corroded on there. Got to get a timing cover. That's like probably another $100. Dampener needs a dampener. I don't know how much those are, but they're probably 100, $200. And let's see, oil pump. Those are cheap. Have to get another oil pan because I don't want to put that cast pan back on it because I don't think it's going to seal. Valve covers. Have to get either valve covers or valve cover spacers because the roller rockers I have will not clear the stock valve covers. So it's another couple $100. So this goes $2,500. Like, goes real quick on that. But I could buy a used engine, $500, and then who knows really what condition it is, unless you can buy the engine. Like this one time, my dad got this engine to put in a Grand Prix I had, and the engine that we got to put in it from these guys, actually, they had this engine still in a truck running, and you could like hear it run. So that would be one way where that would be a good idea, I think. So I've decided that I'm going to build this engine on here, and I'm going to make YouTube videos about it and see if anyone wants to watch it. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't really care. But I need to do something with the car. I need to get it going. I'm going to fix. I had to cut this rust out from under the battery tray, and I cut the patch piece to go in the battery tray 2-3 years ago, and I haven't welded it in yet. It's like I just need to actually do something with the damn car. And I really like the gasser look, but if I do that, which I really want to do that, straight axle front suspension and all that, but I would probably take that somewhere else to do that because, for one, I have a flux core welder, so I don't really feel very comfortable having flux core welds on that kind of thing. I mean, maybe it's fine, but I just feel like I would like someone with better equipment and more skill to do something that you got safety involved and all that. Like the little floor hole in the under the battery tray, I'll weld that in, no problem. And I got these blow holes in the shock tower. I'm gonna fix those. I think I found an idea on how to fix those. The main reason why I'm really interested in building this block is, so when it got bored 60 over. They had to go 60 over to get it true. 60 thousandths over bore, 5,000 stick height. And everyone seems to say, I've read on the internet and stuff, that a lot of people say they run hot when you go 60 over. Like, you don't want to go over 40 over on a small block Ford. And I don't know, maybe that's true. I mean, I've seen a lot of people say it's fine, and a lot of people say it's not fine. But I was talking to another coworker at work, and he was saying that these are mass-produced blocks, so you may have one cylinder wall that's not as thick as the other cylinder wall. They're not like a blueprinted, balanced, whatever, super expensive race engine being built. They're assembly line there. So there's going to be some inconsistencies in the metals and the spacings and everything. Which I thought that was a pretty good point, and explained why one person would say runs hot, one person would say it's fine. But I figure that'll add to the cost a little bit. But I have to get at least a 3-core radiator, probably a 4-core radiator, electric fan, maybe an electric water pump. Probably not though, but a high volume water pump anyways. Have to have a good cooling system, no matter what. Whether, I mean, any of these old cars or whatever, if you're modifying a small block, Chevy, Ford, whatever, you need a good cooling system, because they're like on the verge of running hot all the time, really and truly, especially down here in Alabama, summertime. We're just gonna talk about that and see what you guys thought. And yeah, that's it. See you later.